Welcome to Change the Shed, everybody. You're going to be seeing this on July 23rd. This is recorded, so you're welcome to leave comments on YouTube, but it is not live, just so you know. I have watched videos that I thought were live and were not, so don't feel dumb if you think I'm live, because I usually am on Change the Shed. So welcome. Please do leave your comments. I will check on them in the coming days. Thank you to all of you on Patreon. This Change the Shed is coming to you all still after 5 years. Thanks to my patrons. I really appreciate it. You all make it possible. So today I'm working on the It's Fine Tapestry again on my Shacked Arras loom. I made myself some notes so I would remember the things that I wanted to work on and share with you that are a little different from what we've been looking at the last few weeks. One of them is the gravel at the bottom. Let me see if you can see. I'm going to take that off. Let's look at this just a second. So here, sorry about the light in the one camera. Here under the foot, there's some gravel, and I don't like how it's looking. It's supposed to be like a road or some kind of cement or something. And I'm not super fond of it. There's going to be a fairly large area, and I'm not liking how that looks. So today I'm going to take out just a little bit and add, you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some hatching there. And then there's also, I'll show you this up close, but behind the shoes on my cartoon, I have some lines drawn, that vertical lines that will go the direction of the warp. So that'll be interesting to see how I'm going to do that. I have two different ways I want to trial. I'm going to just try it right on the piece, and we'll see what happens. Either I'm going to do a slit that is maybe sewn with black, or just so you can see those lines, I may start with a one warp wrap and see what that looks like. I do have the option of the double set, so that is a third thing that we could do. So one other note that I have for you that I don't mention often enough is about measuring your width. So I may not remember that, but in this piece, I am trying to keep it square. So measuring your width with a tape measure frequently is the best way to make sure that's happening, because visually it can look like a piece is staying square and it's very gradually getting wider or coming in, or something's happening in the piece that makes you see something that isn't there. So measuring the width is a great way to make sure that your width is staying constant. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras here and show you, see if I can get a little more light and show you what I want to work on today. That might be good. Okay, so let's start with the, let me zoom in a little bit here. Let's start with this gravel piece. So if you can see the cartoon back there, remember there is a dumpster fire in this piece. You can't, actually it's right up here at the edge of this, but this whole area is this gravel, and I don't want it all to be like this. So this is a mix of two very different values, which means it will look pebbly, which is what a gravel road looks like, but I feel like it's going to be too much for the whole thing, and I'm not sure my slits will stand out. Anyway, I'm changing my mind, and I'm going to use a mix of these two. This is the gray, actually what's in there right now. Two of this gray, this is faro actually, and then I have one of this is a dark, I think there's yellow in this mix, and then this is a light violet or something that I dyed. It has violet and red in it, and then a toner that's brown and black. So anyway, and it's a very light color. What I want to do is back this out a little bit and then add a mix of these two colors here. I'm gonna just wind off my colors here first. So am I going to have, I'm using 3 strands, 2 of this and 1 of this, or 2 of this and 1 of this? I'm gonna try, I think, 2 of the natural faro and 1 of the other yarn is one that I dyed, so it's solid, it's immersion dyed. All right. Let's try that. And I'm gonna hatch these 2 colors together. But first I wanna take out just a little bit here. I think maybe that's about the spot I wanna go to. All right, so in this next shed, I'm going to add this going in this direction. I might even tuck that tail between those split warps. My idea is to hatch these. So tell that my camera is shifting focus a lot, so let me see if I can stop that from happening. Okay. All right, so here this might work out well. This might hatch together nicely. Let's just do a little bit and then we'll see. I am, of course, using the Shacked Arras or Arras tapestry loom for this piece. This is the first big piece I've used the treadle, stand and treadle assembly on. And spoiler alert, I really like it. I love being able to change the shed with my feet no matter what, but this manual treadle that's so quiet and smooth that just works so nicely. I really like it. Okay, so what do we think of that? I think I'm gonna like that better. Those blend pretty well, but I'll keep this sort of darker bit right along the bottom of that sort of roadway. I do want to make sure they hatch. And of course, we looked at this in the last Change the Shed too, the interface between the 8 EPI and the 16 EPI, and how this fluffier yarn sort of covers up the shedding problem that happens there. And that is continuing to work well. Here, I also added, I changed the shedding because I added just one butterfly in here, but because this goes to 16 EPI, there was going to be a shedding problem no matter what. So I could just add one butterfly without worrying about any. The shedding problem is still the same and it's going to be there in this case, so I didn't have to worry about that. Normally, if you add just one butterfly in the middle of a pattern, you will throw your shedding off, or just one weft. I have a real habit of saying butterfly because I use butterflies on my big loom. If you've taken my warp and weft class, I started teaching using butterflies. Let's see, I think that will work. This is sort of the sole of the shoe, so it's having that step over like that I think will look good. Let's sew this slit. I like to sew 2 relays at once for this sort of 8 EPI. Weaving it works fine, and it's faster than stitching every one. A lot of people stitch slits off the loom, so that is traditional. This is more of a sew as you go approach. Not exactly sew as you go is something Archie Brennan talked about, and his method actually, I think you just wind the thread as you're weaving. So it's not even that you're weaving some and then stitching. He talks about that in his DVD series, which you can still get from, Archie passed away in 2019, but you can still get the DVD series from his partner, Susan Martin Maffei. I should mark how many times I talk about Archie Brennan on Change the Shed. He changed the face of tapestry in a lot of parts of the world in the late 20th century. Just have to finish up this cloud. I actually don't know what that dot is right there. Let's see. Oh, I see. Okay. I might not weave it that way. I just don't want to get too, I could keep weaving this. This is a slit. It's just, it's kind of nice to keep the weaving all in a general line. I've been weaving with Gist Array for the new Tapestry Discovery box that opened today, actually. Oh, it is, I'm filming this on July 15. And I am using Array for that, of course, which is already, it's a 2-ply yarn. And so when I am doing bundling, I'm twisting that yarn in the opposite direction of what I'm twisting these singles. And sometimes that throws me off to think about it for a second. The new Tapestry Discovery box is about complementary harmony, which is a super important concept in tapestry weaving. In any art, the way that color functions, complements are very important because of the way that our eyes want to see complements. There's a physiology about complements that is important if you create art. So, if you're interested in that class, you can get it between now and September 30, I think. It's a quarterly class, and it comes with yarn from Gist. It was a lot of fun to make. some point I'm gonna have to drop out this charcoal color. All right, let's fill this in. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3. This will be 4. The fire is a little bit thinner than this is Harrisville Color Singles, the blue, so put an extra sequence of leave an extra sequence of the faro in there. And move this over now. All right, and I often use stitching to count. Might as well stitch if I'm going to count, just to see where I am with these matching. Okay, there's 3. Need 2 more there for that to match. And I am forgetting about my little lines, which I did not mark on the warp. So let's mark those on there now. Okay. So these little lines, let's see. Just about, I just want to put sort of where I want them to go. At least this is what was on the cartoon. And maybe here. Okay. So let's work on those lines. My instinct is to try a one warp wrap to start with. The issue with that is that, of course, I don't want to sew slits on a one warp wrap. So another option would be to split these warps and weave it as 2, but I'm still going to have a slit that's going to be really hard to stitch. So a third option, I'm also considering using 3 of this color for those lines. Let's see how that looks. Another option would be to just make it a slit between 2 wefts that are already working in meet and separate. And then I guess a fourth option, or however many number options we have, might be to, a fourth option might be to use an invisible weft join, which is something I talk about in my book, which is called The Art of Tapestry Weaving. This is a perfect time to use an invisible weft join, so perhaps that is, I don't think I've ever done that on Change the Shed. Perhaps that is the thing to do here. So that means I would be doing the one warp wrap. My question is, can I just keep these two wefts on each side? And I think the answer is going to be, sure you can. So this is not in, the shedding will be wrong here, but the idea here is that I'll do one warp wrap like that, and then use the invisible weft join. So let me, let's see, I have white here. I tend to use upholstery thread for the invisible weft joins, but I don't think I want to use white. I'm going to see if I can find a different color, and I will be back in a moment. Since this is not live, I can do that. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I don't have very many colors of this upholstery thread, and I think for a small tapestry you could always use sewing thread. The issue with this is that it's going to be hanging the other way. I'm weaving it sideways, and so the invisible weft join is not the strongest join, and if I'm not careful when I make it, those little joins can sag out, which is the other reason to use a color instead of the white. I could use black, and that maybe would help. If the sewing thread showed a little bit, that might be okay. It would be sort of a shadow. Or I have this sort of tan color, which I think would disappear. I think I'm gonna try this brown. So let's just see what happens. You have to weave the part that you're going to join this way, line by line. And I've got a little extra turn on that, which is okay, on the little line. So I'm going to make the sewing thread go about this distance. And you'll be doing full sequences. I think I'm even gonna tie this. Let's see. No, I'm just gonna tuck it to the back, and I will make sure it's tied in when I get this off the loom. Oops, that's the wrong warp. I'm gonna tuck it between these two. Maybe. All right. And then the trick with this is that the sewing thread actually has to go behind the warp that you're covering, or it will show. So it's a little sequence that goes between the two layers of weft. This has to go to the back because we don't want that to show. I'm weaving from the front. And then back to the next shed I would be weaving in. And this is up, so that will wrap. And this will just continue weaving. And then I'll do that little stitch every sequence or two. I might do it every sequence just because I know this piece is going to be hanging sideways. It will be mounted, so it's not a big deal, I don't think. If you are doing a really big tapestry and you were going to hang it sideways, you're weaving it sideways and then you're turning it to hang, you might reconsider using this join, because I think if the tapestry is really heavy, it may just pull right open. Okay, so put that in again and do a full sequence and go behind, hold on, having some behind this. So this is a down warp where that, the one where I'm doing the wrap, but I need the sewing thread to go. So here it's going to go right in the shed, but it's going to go behind that warp because otherwise it will show. You'll have little lines where you'll see that sewing thread right in front of your warp wrap. So then this just weaves and the sewing thread should disappear. I need a new weft. One of this darker and two of that natural faro color, which is lovely. I wish that I could get it in the Harrisville Kohler singles, but they don't come in naturals. Okay, semblance of a splice there. This comes back. And that thread disappears. Don't think you'll see it at all. All right, other shed. It's gonna be a little bit chunky, but this is kind of a cartoony piece, and I think it might be okay. I'm gonna keep going. I think I might like that one warp wrap option. So this thread is just floating up on the back. When I get it off the loom, I'll see this thread floating up from one stitching area to the next. So this isn't something to use if you if you want your back to be clean and not see floats. This is not the technique for you. All right, so is that, yeah, that joint is gonna hold that together. I think this is gonna work great. Of course, the trick, once this next line gets in there, is to do two at once. So in that case, I'll just run actually there will be three at once pretty quickly. I'll just run the sewing thread all the way across that area. So you come across, you do a full sequence with that sewing thread, and in this instance right here, that spot that's being wrapped, the thread has to go behind there. So I'm picking up, I'm just opening the shed, but I'm picking up that one warp where the one warp wrap is so that it doesn't show on the front. So the sewing thread doesn't show on the front. All right, well, that's kind of fun. I think that's probably gonna be okay. I'll weave some more and we'll take a picture of it, and you guys can vote. Okay, let's 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Catch this side up. And I'll know whether I've caught up by the stitching, which is a little bit trickier when I'm doing, there's a lot of one warp wraps inside with this color at the edge of these clouds. So sometimes the stitching, I can't do every 2 sequences because I don't like to split those one warp wraps. So I'll go every 1 or 3. So right here I'll go 1 because the next one has one of those wraps in the gray. So right here, it's a 1 warp wrap. So I go up, it's equivalent to 2 sequences, so I can go up here by 2 and by 2 over here. And then it looks like I did it again there, so I'll have 2 sequences to sew on the next one. So right here, I had another, let's see if this is true. Yep. 1 warp wrap, and then one that wasn't a 1 warp wrap, so that's 2 sequences. So that's where that's caught up, and I've figured that out by using the stitching to count. All right, I'm going to keep working on this, and you'll get a look coming up of what happened with this 1 warp wrappy thing. Those of you on Patreon, I did a video recently of weaving this shoe at 16 EPI. So if you want to see that, that is a Patreon only video, but you're welcome to join us on Patreon. And this one will be right on YouTube as my Change the Shed. Hopefully the tech will work and it will go up on the 23rd of July. I will see you again at some point in August. I don't know if you'll get another recorded one from me or if it will be live. But at some point in August, if you watch my calendar, I will be back for Change the Shed. And those of you on Patreon will get all the details. I'm going on a little bit of a road trip, and then I'll be doing some hiking in August. So those of you on Patreon should get a look some behind the scenes of my studio when I'm out in the mountains. I'm planning on doing at least one video of some of my adventures from hiking. Maybe some of my adventures from the road trip I'm going on, which I have not told y'all where I'm going yet, but it'll be somewhere. Maybe interesting, maybe not. I am looking forward to a couple things and hoping that I will have some really nice time to do some sketching, reading, and weaving sketch tapestry. Summer of Tapestry is still going. Those of you, if anybody, I just had someone join yesterday. So if your summer doesn't start until July, or you just have time coming up and you want to do the class, there's still lots of people doing wonderful things in the class, and you're welcome to join us. Obviously, you can take the class at any point, and I will be around, and there will be other people checking in and seeing what you have woven. So join us if you feel like doing sketch tapestry might be the thing for you right now. All right, y'all, have a great July. I will be back soon. Check in on Patreon, check the playlist on YouTube, and have a really great week. Thanks for being here. I appreciate all of you so much, and let's just keep weaving. $14 1/4. 14 1/4. Phew. Doing this frequently really does help you keep track of whether things are staying even side to side, if you care. You don't have to keep your selvages even, but if you want them even, a tape measure's your friend.